Hi everyone, AJ K6LOR here in a kind of an echoey chamber of a supply tower location. I thought I'd give you guys a kind of a quick tour of our repeater deployment up here at Wilderness Ridge. So we are in the old caretaker's apartment is where our current location is at. So we have, there we go. So we re-racked everything today, moved all the electronics to the top, all of the filtering to the bottom, and everyone kind of wonders what all goes into a repeater. There's a lot, so just giving you a quick kind of overview. So at the very top of the rack we have a surge suppressor strip, which is actually double-sided. We do monitor just the input voltage with good old Radio Shack analog meter. Very top there, Arcom RC210 repeater controller. That's in use for our amateur repeaters. So the 14678, 444725, those are interfaced. Those are Motorola MTR 2000 series, running at 100 watts each. And then we just added today a GMRS repeater, which is detuned because we can't run nearly that much power in the GMRS band. But we're still running same commercial hardware, public safety grade, receiver quality, and what have you. So working our way down the shelf. In the very back there, that little rectangular box on the top shelf, that is our VHF receive filter. So that's a bandpass filter specific to the amateur band. And then the little round cavity with a plunger in it to the right, that is our receive pre-selector for the GMRS repeater that we just stood up today, which has fantastic performance for reasonable amount of insertion loss. I think we're about 1.7 dB of insertion loss, and we're almost 40 dB at the repeater frequency. And up here UHF is just absolutely hammered because of the TV transmitters. So really cleans up the band hitting the receiver. The next shelf down on top of the larger cabinet is our 70 centimeter bandpass filter for the amateur band. And then in the middle there on that shelf is the GMRS repeater or duplexer that we just deployed today, which came out of a GE repeater probably 30 years ago, it looks like. So that one's good to go. And then below that, the blackface decibel duplexer, that's for our 70 centimeter repeater. And then clear back there, that big, huge, tall cabinet, that is our 6-cavity VHF duplexer. We did bring up another rack, so we've got another 9U worth of space to work with, plus all of the space that I was able to rearrange things towards the bottom of the primary rack. So we've got room for growth in the future. I know that there's definitely some interest as far as being able to do additional stuff up here at this site. Just kind of a lacing of the cabling. So there's our, at the very top, there is our surge suppressor, and then power on the left-hand side for our repeater controller. This little whip right here is actually our room air sensor. So our repeater controller monitors both the DC power coming into the controller and the ambient air temperature, which you can dial up with DTMF tones on demand. There's a bunch of other stuff that we can share with you guys as far as DTMF access to the repeater. So this series of repeater, the PA is on this side. So we've got all of our transmit cables coming down, and those land directly onto the duplexers. And then our receive comes straight out the back, and those come down and they hit their respective receive pre-selectors first. So VHF right here, GMRS right here, 70 centimeter right here, and then obviously the GMRS duplexer, and then further down is our amateur duplexer. Try to lace everything the best that we can. We do use kind of stock 3 meter and 4 meter, or excuse me, 3 foot and 4 foot RG400 cables, not LMR 400. There's a massive difference when it comes to working in repeaters. As far as future work, we've got to do a little bit more to clean up the grounding and bonding, to put a actual plate inside the interior here so we can get all of our lightning arresters, those polyphasers, kind of landing in the same place. And then for our ice bridge, so we come out of the building through that porthole, and then there's our bonding point, which we are bonded to the building power ground, as well as to our ice bridge. So the 3 smaller cables on the bottom, those are all the 1/2-inch U-pin feed line that we use for the react repeaters. Those giant bundles right there, those are the grounding kits that go onto the outside shield, and then those tie into the pole ground point, and then that laces its way up. And then let's try to step back here a little bit. Okay, so in the middle here is the turnstile antennas. Those are for the FM broadcaster. And then on the far right of the cross arm, on the far right side, is our GMRS repeater antenna. And that is a 450 to 470 cell wave fiberglass antenna. It has a fantastic match across the band. We've used it for amateur for a while before we moved to the center antenna, which is a Sinclair dual band dipole array. UHF on the top, VHF on the bottom, and then we've just got a I believe that's another UHF link antenna on the far left side that we're not currently using. As far as line of sight up here, all I can say is, what can't you hit? So over to our left, we've got Lower Deer Point, Bogus Basin Road. We've got Shaw Mountain is out that direction. Lucky Peak is what it's commonly referred to as. Boise, Meridian, the Owyhee's in the background. So that's the Wilderness Ridge site in a nutshell.